Alright, so I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the water down here at Slick Rock Water Crossing is rolling pretty good. I got my bag on top. I'm going to keep it up there because it's already there. Um, these next water crossings, they're going to get pretty deep. And the camera's actually on the front of the machine. It might actually go underwater. So, let's see what happens. I stand here in the middle of the Ozarks, and whether you can hear it or not, the Little Red River is directly behind me. What I haven't shown you yet is someplace that is pretty haunting. So if you've been on my channel before, I did a story on Arlie McIntyre, who sadly lost his life to the Little Red River. And in that video, I said, but that's not the only tragedy that has happened on the Little Red River. Where I stand right now, and I'll swing the camera around so you can see. This is the Emerson family cemetery. This is the main structure of the house, and this over here would have been the children's sleeping quarters. So in 1889, the Golden Spike had been driven in the railroad joining the East and the West Coast by rail. Ulysses S. Grant was voted in as president. And in September, the stock market crashed, which we all know as Black Friday. But also in 1889, the entire family perished in a flood from the Little Red River, which is but 50 yards from where I stand right now. I wanted to come up here and give you the whole story on exactly what happened. The Emerson family, the relatives of the Emerson family, still take care of this cemetery every year. And there is a sign-in book that you can sign for visitors to come and visit the cemetery. And what I want to do is, instead of telling you the story, I want you to hear it from Mr. Emerson himself. Mr. Emerson was a Confederate soldier in Georgia. And after the war had ended in 1865, 4 years later, he found himself in Arkansas on this plot of land. Mr. Emerson lost on that day, on that night actually, his wife and 7 children. Only he and 2 sons survived. This is a letter that he wrote to his family back in Georgia. I live near the bank of the Little Red River in Van Buren County.
On Saturday evening, the 15th of June, it rained very hard for about 3 hours. We knew a great deal of water had fallen, but thought of no danger from a sudden rise in the river. About 9 o'clock in the night, I went down toward the river to see if the water was rising. I saw it was rising very rapidly. Some of the cattle were between the fence and the river. I tore the fence in several places to permit them to get out should the water come up to them. I then called back to my wife and told her to wrap the children up and get everything ready to go out to the hills. She could not hear what I said and sent one of the boys to find out what I wanted. I told him, and he went back, and preparations were made. I came in, and we all started. It was only 85 steps to the hill. There was no water in the house when we started. We were not alarmed. My wife was even less apprehensive of danger than I was. My wife took the baby, and I had the little boy next to the baby on one arm and some quilts over my shoulder, and lantern on my other arm, and was leading a 9-year-old girl. I asked if all the children were there. My wife counted and assured me that they all were. We went on some distance, my wife and oldest daughter in front. I soon heard my daughter scream. About that time, a tremendous wave struck me and tripped me up. The lantern went out and all was dark. I lost the little girl I had by the hand. Another large wave struck me, filled with rails, chunks, and logs. I could do nothing but float with the current and struggle to keep the little boy above water. I finally saw that little boy on my arm was dead. I disliked very much to let him go, but saw I would lose my life too if I did not. So, I let him go. I had my overcoat on and could hardly keep above water. I floated along with the debris and pulled off my coat. There were so many chunks and logs that swimming was impossible. I merely struggled along until I was thrown up on a point of land. Where I straightened up and tried to see if I could hear any of the family. Everything roared so, and my ears being filled with water, I could hear nothing for some time. Finally, I heard one of the boys howling some distance up the river. After an hour or so, the water subsided somewhat, and I went to where I heard the boy and found that 2 of them had climbed trees and saved themselves. I got them out to the hills. The others were all lost. The boys and I went 4 miles across the hill to the nearest neighbor's house. But they had all gone away to a mill except one boy. Other parties were visited, but most had families or relatives on the river and wanted to go see about them. The boys and myself came back and began the search for our lost ones. We finally found their bodies, scattered 1.5 miles along the river. Several neighbors came and helped us with the search. We buried them all in the same grave near the river, as we could not get out to the regular burying place. I lost some cattle and other stock. The crop was entirely ruined, and the land washed off so that it is almost valueless. The house was not carried away. The side rooms were. Nearly everything in the house was ruined. If we'd have stayed in the house, we would doubtless all have survived. Those lost were Miss Allison Emerson, age 42, son Hamilton, 20, daughter Maddie, 18, son James, 13, daughter Tenny, 9, son Hardy, 7, son Caleb, 4, son Edgar, 20 months. The 2 boys that were saved, Robert, 17, and Willie, age 15.
Sorry folks, this one is not gonna happen. I mean, I could go find another camping spot somewhere else, but it's going on 6:30. It's a little late to be trying to set up camp and everything else. So that's gonna put the kibosh on this trip. I cross here a lot, and I cross here during deep water, but what you can't see and what I know is that out there, number one, I just want you to look at how hard that water is flowing right there. So it doesn't look like it's pulling much there, because it's funneling down there and it's coming around here and all that. But what you can't see and what I know is how large those rocks are underneath out there. They're that size, and you have to know where you're going. There's a flat rock that's angled like this, and it's large, and that's usually where you aim for. You just stay to the left side of it. But you saw on the camera on the side, I dipped my front tire down in there, and that's deep. That's deep. The other stuff that I crossed that was deep, I knew where I was going. There wasn't anything under the water that I didn't know was there. But there is a giant rock right in the middle, right there. And I don't want to risk putting the machine in that deep of water, especially when it doesn't look like it's running that hard. I mean, look upstream. And this is the only place to cross. The cabin is right up here. You can't see it because of the foliage, but it's right there. Yeah. I'll risk a lot of things, folks, but this ain't one of them times. I can't even, I mean, I could come in and come across that way, but you've got the same thing. You've got those rocks, and I know how deep that water is right there. Jesus Christ. You know what they say, turn around, don't drown. Well, this is me turning around, not drowning. So maybe we'll revisit this, come out here and camp after this water subsides, get a good overnight camp in. It's probably going to take a week or two. So sorry to disappoint you guys. So I'm gonna head up Hippie's Crawl and get back to the truck and just hightail it to the house.